Hey, what's going on, bud?
What's happening, man? How was your week today? This week?
It's been a good week. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Can't complain.
It's been a good week so far. It's been a good week. We can't complain.
Hey, actually, this week for me. This week kind of flew by real quick. I had some, great videos that came out. Because me, I love those band boxes. And then, of course, I was super excited with the whole, my SDC box that came out. So those were probably my highlights for the week.
I seen that video. So tell me, did it convert you to a DC fan at all?
No,
not even a little bit. No. He said nope. Like you answered that one way too easy. No.
Like I said in that, it's funny, because Black Lightning's really cool, but and for me, yes, being a huge Marvel fan, DC is on the butt end of most jokes for me, but doesn't mean I don't. See, I put them on the butt end because they make horrible movies.
Oh yeah, horrible. We've both discussed that. I agree with that 100%. Their movies are horrible.
There are a few movies out there, like the Chris Nolan Batmans were fantastic. The original two Batmans with Michael Keaton were fantastic. But other than that, there's really nothing else that you can kind of hang your hat on. I mean, Wonder Woman, maybe. I put that on as it was okay. I didn't put on it that was fantastic.
All right,
but
but
their comics are great.
Here's a movie that I like that a lot of people didn't, was Batman versus Superman. Now, I kind of like that movie. That was a pretty cool movie to me. But it's also because they haven't put out anything really good in a long time.
I think and I didn't hate on the Affleck Batman. I didn't hate on him, but I didn't like the storyline. I think they could have done so much more with that storyline than they did.
I agree with you, but I didn't absolutely hate the movie. It was one of their most recent films that I enjoyed watching.
That, and they relied farly
CG. They CG'd it to death.
They CG'd to crap. It was horrible.
Maybe that's why I enjoyed it, because I tend to enjoy that CG stuff. I mean, when it's good CG, I mean, it has to be some decent CG.
If you have a Michael Bay CG, Michael Bay, I mean, how many of his movies, Transformers, stuff like that, has been so much CG?
Oh yeah,
but
awesome.
The man knows how to do it.
Yes. See,
he knows how to do it and knows how to make it look good. Yes, but some of those scenes, like even I mean, I remember on Justice League, and there was a spot where you had, Aquaman sitting on the hood of the Batmobile or something, and that whole background they had, it was horrible. It was horrible. It was CG to death, and it was just bad.
Aquaman. I don't watch a lot of films to begin with, but that was one of them that I can get behind. I think the problem is DC's really good at telling their stories. They just haven't. They need to get with whoever Marvel produces and all of that, and they need to kind of turn it over in that direction. They can't produce their own stuff. I mean, and they've proven that time and time again. They're just not real good at it.
Yeah. And it's not from lack of storyline, because DC has great storylines in their comics. They just, for some reason, the people they keep hiring to direct these movies can't get the storyline right.
They just can't translate it into a good movie. But it happens, right? And I guess they can't be good at everything. But, then when I look at Marvel, I think, man, their comics are okay. So I think Deadpool's comics are kind of elementary. Does that make any sense? Does that make any sense with you?
The newer ones, I have seen some of the newer ones more elementary, but when he came out early on, I mean, he was still the foul mouthed, vigilante that we all love.
No, when I say elementary, I mean like it's almost written like to a middle school person. It's almost written to like anybody can read it. Basically, is what I'm saying. Anyone could read that comic book, right? It's not written for intelligent thinking, right? It's not meant to sit down and try and like.
Well, I don't think comics in general are supposed to be like that.
Right.
Comics in general, like Amazing Spider-Man, you can pick up in the middle. I mean, there's hundreds of Amazing Spider-Man, but you can pick up in the middle of anywhere and kind of grab right into the story and enjoy it.
Their artists and their movies, I don't care what you say. You could say whatever you wanted to say about how the comic book is written or how the storyline goes, but they can somehow take that and turn that into this really awesome movie. So when it comes to that side of it, they have the ability to take what they did there and then turn that into this really good movie. Because, you know, lately I've been really into the Deadpool comics and I really enjoy reading them, but I know that's middle school me that really enjoys reading them.
The movies also help that you found the most perfect guy in all of Hollywood.
Yes, they definitely did
that character.
Yes, they when they casted him, they casted the right person.
Well, I think he kind of pushed the movie himself.
You think so?
Yeah, I believe the original Deadpool, he knew, because I mean he was Wade Wilson. Now, okay, if we go back to original casting when they put him in Blade 3 as Wade Wilson, that was probably the original casting of him, but there was no real brought up of Deadpool. And I think from there, Ryan Reynolds started pushing the Deadpool character sometime after that.
I don't. Maybe he did push it, you know, but he plays such a good role in it. I can't imagine anyone else in that role, and I can't ever imagine him playing other roles. So now when I see him playing other stuff, I'm like, it's not the same thing. I mean, he still just plays that role. He plays that role really well, but that's just a reflection on Marvel, right? When Marvel comes to making movies and films and just stuff in general, they're really good at it.
Well, what's funny is you got things like Deadpool and Venom, which I thought Venom was great. I mean, I personally thought Venom was great, but that wasn't even MCU. That was Sony.
Oh, was it? Well, Sony's good at that too, though. Sony's really good at making movies.
And actually, I still like the X-Men. The last 3 set of X-Men. Days of Future Past, Apocalypse, stuff like that. In fact, if anyone has Disney Plus, hey, Disney Plus isn't a sponsor, but you can find, it should be.
If you're listening, you should be.
But X-Men you can find every X-Men movie on Disney Plus now, which is
that's pretty cool.
Strongly recommendation.
Okay, so they explain to me how Disney owns some of Marvel, because to me, when I was reading all of that got muddy. I mean, when you own a piece of a company that owns a piece of a company that owns a piece of a company, to me, that starts to get muddy.
You mean as far as the different character licenses?
Right. Well, when I was reading how Disney has a piece of Marvel, it was because they bought this company that owned a piece of Marvel, and they bought this company that owned a piece of Marvel.
What really happened is I think it was, I'd like to say it was early 90s, maybe late 80s, somewhere in there, if I have my dates right. Marvel was they were almost going bankrupt. They were not in the best way. In fact, I think I've seen Comic Book Posers talked about this before, and I could be wrong. Maybe I've got my comic book guys mixed up. But
stop right there for a second. Hold that thought. Speaking of Comic Book Poser, so Comic Book Poser bought one of my cups, and I made a whole video calling him Comic Book Imposter. Let me apologize for that. let me apologize for that real quick. Just throw it out there. Let me do a quick apology. Now go back. Go quick.
All right. But and after we go through this a little bit, I haven't forgotten you guys chat. We are gonna get to you guys, give you guys a live shout out, or the chat shout out. But it was somewhat Marvel was in a bad way, and they were almost going bankrupt. So what they started doing was, in order to make up money, they started selling licensing rights to different studios. So, you had Sony that bought up basically the entire Spider-Verse, which was Spider-Man, all their villains, everything along with that. And then you have Fox that bought X-Men, Fantastic Four, and Deadpool. Oh, yeah, they bought the licensing right for Deadpool. And then, of course, everything else is they kept most of the stuff. So when Disney bought Marvel, they had majority of the catalog, but they didn't have the catalog that they were really, they were missing big pieces. Right. And the big pieces were the Fantastic Four, which in a comic book world, Fantastic Four was like an integral part. And I don't feel that Fox gave Fantastic Four by any means its justice. I didn't care for any of the movies they put out for them, to be honest with you. In fact, I was excited when they were going to bring the Silver Surfer back in Fantastic Four 2. And I just didn't feel they brought it justice, to be honest with you. But you know, so when Disney wanted those rights back, they, instead of just, you know, buying the rights back from Fox, I guess Fox was deciding they were going to go for sale anyways. So they're like, well, we'll just buy everything underneath them, except for I think there was like Fox News and one other licensing of Fox that wasn't part of the deal. But then Sony said that they won't sell it, but they will let us borrow it and make a mutual deal. And then, of course, the big thing last summer, was it last summer or the end of last year, was that, oh, God, the Disney-Sony deal is over. I knew that was going to come back. I knew that was going to come back to the table because with Spider-Man, there's too much at stake with Spider-Man. But Spider-Man, I think, will be the only character that's going to jump between the MCU world and the Spider-Verse world.
You think so?
But, oh, yeah. He's going to be the only character to ever do that. And you know, but I think he's that strong of a character to be able to do that.
We'll have to see. I don't know. I think that you could jump a lot of characters around, but I didn't. I'm glad you explained that because I wasn't really 100% sure how that went down. And when you're reading it, it gets a little muddy. I mean, when you're reading it, it gets muddy. They own this and that and that and this, and it. I understand why Marvel did it, but they caused a big headache for everybody else.
Well, you want to talk even strange licensing rights and contract. If you come out here to Disney World, now they trust me, the lawyers for Disney have gone through those contracts with a fine-tooth comb. But out here in Disney World, if you guys ever decide to come out here for, actually, I don't recommend it right now, but if you guys eventually come out here for vacation, you will realize that you will find almost no Marvel in any of the Disney parks out here. And there's a strict reason for that, because also back then when they were selling licensing, Disney sold a right to Universal to be able to use certain characters at Universal Studios. However, the contract has no end date at all. And the only way that contract ends is Universal has to end it.
Oh, well, so
when Disney bought up all these characters, of course, they were trying to buy them back from Marvel, and Marvel was like, yeah, no. I'd rather pay you for the licensing than let you have them. So basically, within 50 miles of Universal Studios out here in Florida, there can be no Marvel characters. Now, they have found loopholes with things like Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy was not part of the deal. That's why they're going to have a Guardians of the Galaxy ride at Epcot. But, yeah, it's always been disappointing. As a big Marvel fan, it's always been very disappointing for me being out here in Florida because I don't get it.
That makes it even more muddy. They need to like just consolidate everything again and start over. That makes it even more muddy. You want to get to the chat room? I see that we got a lot of messages over there.
Yeah, sorry. So we got a lot. Sorry, we have not been completely ignoring. We you know, Wayne and I, we just kind of get into it, and you know, we kind of get in our conversations. But man, we had comic book poser straight up from the beginning.
Comic book imposter. Look, I don't even know where I got that. Sometimes when I'm sitting down doing my videos, I clearly knew that wasn't what that said, but for some reason, it stuck in my head that way. And I've been catching myself doing that lately, where I know that that's not what it is, but I'm saying it anyways. So it's
exactly
imposter.
That's all right.
Comic book imposter.
We got our buddy Clayton Marks from across the sea over in the UK. Hopefully he can watch all. Hey, I hope you can watch all of it too. But we understand it's different time zones over there, so we do get it. We got our buddy Fabian is in the house. Kenneth Bird, what is going on? Hopefully we will see Kenneth Bird tomorrow for the giveaway with Dead Skeleton. Because man, that guy, he's got his own bots going. I see him win more stuff in different lives than anybody I've ever seen. Him and
Bearded Barbarian both got their bots going.
Exactly.
We'll have to see which one wins that.
We got Jose goes pop hunting. What's going on? Of course, we've got the wonderful Wayne's wife. Is that a Coke Energy? That is a Coke Energy. I absolutely love these things. By the way, not a sponsor yet. Who else we got? We got JKL. What is going on, man? Sorry. I got to go back to this. Comic book poser was trying to see which stream is lagging behind the other. Watching both is making making me cross my eyes. Well, I appreciate you trying to watch both to keep up on both of them. So now, mind you, again, if you guys are new to the show, some of these people I'm going to put on that's part of the chat.
I just caught what he was saying. Yeah.
You may see on one chat and the other. We actually stream this on both of our channels. So depending on who you jumped on with is who you're going to see. However, me, because I host it, I see it on everybody.
You know, I can see them all too.
Oh, you can see them all as well?
Yeah, I can. Okay. I can see them all over there.
So if you're in here and you know, we can see them all, but you guys can't. So
yeah, no.
We got Supreme Pops. What is going on, Supreme Pops? We got our buddy over at K&L Collectibles. This guy is awesome, and he has one of the best collection of tiny ghosts that I've seen.
So K&L, I used to think that I like was pretty familiar with all the channels and at least like was on a speaking basis to all the channels. He's got way more connections than I do. Way more connections than I do. I don't even understand.
He's got a great show too, by the way.
He does.
If you guys have not checked out K&L, definitely hit him up. He's got a great show. He's got a world of knowledge too, man. I absolutely love watching this show.
Well, he almost got me into those tiny ghosts like once or twice, and that like we've said, I refuse to fall down that rabbit hole.
I don't want to go down, but every time I see him open up one, I'm like, damn, that looks good.
He's
but
almost.
I don't want to go down it.
He's almost got me down it a couple of times too. Not happening though. K&L, good try.
What's up? So we got Pro Panda. I haven't seen Pro Panda on here. Welcome to the show. We got Jesse Lou Comics. Who else we got? We got Living Good Comics. Haven't seen you guys before, but hey, welcome to the show. We do appreciate it. He did say, I did notice a comment said, "Did you look at the stickers I put on the back of my truck?" No, but I'm gonna have to look for it.
Yes, I did. I think he's talking about my sticker. So I think I sent him some stickers if this is the right person. And he put him on the back. And looking at his picture, I'm pretty sure it's the right person. Yes,
we've got the one that only the bearded barbarian collectible.
Got all those bots. Be careful.
We got all those. Hey, you can't use them today. We got there's nothing giving away today.
Bearded barbarian, did you pick up the Black Lightning? We all know that you did.
I had to ask. He got the Black Lightning.
I'm going to ask because I don't think I've seen him with it, and
I don't think he
got it. Confused.
So from somebody told me in the chat or in the comments of that video that I saw one other person unleash or bring out the Black Lightning, but they didn't say who it was. So I don't know.
Captain Pops has it. I've seen him.
Captain Pops.
He's the only other person I've seen with it.
He's on top of it, man. He's on top of it. You should say if you got any of his hunting videos the week of all the releases and stuff, man, he was on top of it.
Yeah, he was way on top of it. I actually sent him a message on one of them. So he somehow knew that Target released the Con Pops a day early. So he was there that morning with the Con Pops, and he posted a picture on Instagram, and I shot him a message because I was confused because I'd had my whole morning like mapped out. I've got to get up, I got to go here, I've got to do this. So I shot him a message and said, "Hey, they drop tomorrow, right?" Because I'm thinking maybe he has some inside connections, right? Look, he's a pretty big channel, right? Nope, they dropped him a day early on me. How he knew that
about it?
Inside connections like no other.
He was on top of it. Great show too, by the way. We got King Collector. Haven't seen him before, but welcome to the show. What do we think about the McDonald's Pops? That's a whole nother hole to go down to, and we have talked about that. I think they're fantastic, but I think that they got bought up way too fast and by the wrong people. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait for the prices to drop down so I can get me a Hamburglar.
I want a
Hamburglar.
I want the 5-pack, but
5-pack's cool too.
I'm not gonna buy them. I just simply refuse to pay that scalper fee. And the fact that they've got sold out their commons. I mean, another day. They're common pops. Common pops.
Dreadpool. We got Dreadpool in here. We got our buddy Dave. What's going on, Dave? Thanks, man. And I think, we got another one. Visually impaired. Have not seen this one before. Welcome to the channel. We do appreciate it. And we also got another one I haven't seen before. Chase's Kingdom. What's going on, man? And again, if you guys have made it to the channel before, and I just haven't hit you on the what do we call this? The shout out.
I don't really know what we call this. We call it something. This is where we go in here and just talk. So Chase's Kingdom has a really cool channel. If y'all haven't seen it, go check it out as well. I want to say this guy's actually reached out and we've talked before, but I want to say here recently on Instagram, I've seen him post like 2 or 3 custom pops. How about throw me a comment down there and let me know if I'm correct on that one? But I'm pretty sure that, and if it's the right one, man, they were pretty fire. I mean, I liked them. I enjoyed them a lot.
So and I've watched Chase's as well. Again, I don't know. I've been watching a lot of newer. I've been because there's always new Funko Pop channels coming up, and it's always good to try to support everybody. Whether I mean, I'm only at 500. To me, I consider myself I'm way down here, so I'm a nobody.
I still consider myself way down there somewhere. So be quiet.
But hey, you're over the 1,000. You've at least jumped to that next level.
I still consider myself way down there somewhere.
But we got to make it friendly to everybody, and I've been trying to visit more newer channels just to watch, because again, you get a great perspective. Watching a bunch of different people's channels and get ideas. And it's not like I'm stealing ideas, but I'm getting inspiration. And so I like to get in there and watch some of the newer channels as well, along with the big guys, to go along with that. And we did have a comment here by K&L. Said, Wayne and Chris, you're more than welcome to come on our channel sometime for a stream. We're going to have to do that. I'm
surprised that they haven't invited us already. What's going on with that?
Well, I know K&L's because we put together, or at least I put together a list, because you guys know about once a month we like to do the what's in their collection series, as that has been a widely popular series that we started doing, and K&L is on my list to get them on to check out, because again, you guys want to check out his collection. It is fantastic.
Yeah, so no, I'm pretty much the same. I try and scroll through. I think we've had this discussion before, though, right? I try and scroll through all of the channels at some point during the day. Sometimes I can, sometimes I can't, but I give it an effort to scroll through. And like you said, if nothing else, get a little inspiration. I'm going to tell you another thing I do. So like the SDCC pops, I actually scroll some of the channels to watch their videos to see what the pops are going to look like when I got them. I mean, so I'm kind of guilty of watching these videos as well.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Hey, Beard Barbarian said he has not opened up his SDCC pops yet. So definitely keep an eye out for that video, because I want to see if he pulled the Black Lightning as well.
Hey, I'm gonna say he did. That's gonna be my gamble.
I think so. He gets those all the time. I got lucky. I'm putting myself. I got lucky, but I gotta give one more shout out. We got James Evan, another person, new person to the channel from Australia. Now, we have been getting a lot of Australians lately. Yes. I don't know, maybe from our live chat that we did with some of our Australian friends out there, but we have been getting a lot of Australians, and we do appreciate you. We get a lot. We get a lot of UK and a lot of Australian. Of course, I haven't seen him on here yet, but I'm sure he'll be on here later. We usually get K Titus.
I haven't seen Funko Fridge on here neither. He needs to come on here so we can talk about going back on his live. I'm going to tell you,
we got to do that again.
I enjoyed their live just for their accents. Just for their accents. Just for the accents. So what did they call the audience? What was the chat room again? Was it Aussies? It was Aussies.
Aussies, yeah.
It was Aussies, yeah. Accents. Love accents. I seen somebody, Dreadpool, sent me a picture. I'll check it out later, Dreadpool.
Yeah, he just sent it to me. A lot of times I get to Instagram pictures after. Whoa. Yeah, I get to Instagram pictures after the show. So
I'll check all of that out after.
A couple quick shout outs. We got Collectortainment. Haven't seen Collectortainment before?
I haven't seen him either.
Welcome to the channel,
Lots
bud.
Of new faces.
And of course, we've got Southern Comic Geek. He is fantastic. Again, another great comic channel. If you guys haven't checked him out, and if it's one of these things, man. I watch so many videos sometimes, and I believe Southern Comic Geek does have a channel. So if you definitely look him up. But sometimes, man, I get channels mixed up all the time.
Hey,
it happens far too often.
I totally understand what you're saying.
So, anyways, thank you guys for all that you guys have joined the chat. We do appreciate you all for coming out and spending some time with us. Now, back to what is our topic for today? Oh, wait, there it is. It's right underneath us.
Yeah, there it is right there.
Wayne and I were having a good discussion the other day. For me, I think Wayne as well. We're 90s kids. We grew up in the 90s, stuff like that. So to me, I still feel, and I will still say, the 90s were the last great. What was it? Man, I'm getting my words.
Generation. Yeah.
There we go.
You're having a Joe Biden moment.
The last the last great decade. 90s was the last great decade. Why? Because I think that you've got a mixture of things here. Because 90s kids, we can remember how things were and how things are. What do I mean by that? Okay, we remember how things were. We remember how we didn't have cell phones, or actually there were cell phones around, but they were about the size of a brick, so nobody used them. And you know, we had the corded phones. I remember my first TV we had when we were a kid was one of the rabbit ears, and you had to turn the dial to change the channel. We didn't have remotes, you know. But then we grew up and we got into the newer age, the newer technology, stuff like that. So we knew how it was. We knew where it was going. So that's why I call the 90s the last great decade. So okay, Southern Comic Geek is a channel because Bearded Barbarian just subbed to him. So
hey, so I had to like switch over. I had to check Instagram. So it's look, that's not normally something that I would do, guys. I don't normally like switch over and check anything while I'm on here. This is like when me and Chris talk and when we're talking with y'all and hanging out. But Fabian sent me a picture. Funko Fabian sent me a picture on there. And Fabian, I don't know if I'm supposed to be upset or if I'm supposed to laugh about this picture. Right now, I'm gonna laugh about it, and it's really awesome. So I'm gonna show everybody. So Fabian decided that he was gonna make a custom pop of me.
I gotta see that one. I gotta see that one.
I'm gonna show everybody, Fabian. But my hair is not that white. Now look. It's just not that one. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, I love it.
No, you gotta have shorts on with the monkey butt tattoo on the back.
Oh, I love it, Fabian. That's pretty awesome, bud. Oh, you could have gave me a little brown up top, though. Oh man. So. Going back to the 90s, right?
No, we're talking about the 90s, and I'm going to hit the chat real quick.
Go ahead.
So, again, even your wife, we talked about bag phones, tight rolled pants, big hair, neon colors. Yes, those were fantastic. We also remember when cable TV was just one channel? Yes. I do.
Well,
I remember
growing up.
Remember when the greatest phone, greatest game on a cell phone back in the late 90s was Snake? It was just a little line that went, but that game was addicting. Yeah. I'm sorry, I spent lots of time playing Snake.
Yeah, there were so many things in the 90s that are wrong now.
But yes, so that's why we say I say 90s was the last great decade. So we started talking about some of these old TV shows that not only have been discontinued, but would they last in today's day and age? That's the question.
Yeah, I don't think some of them would. I think some of them wouldn't, hands down. I'm not gonna like do any like quick like shout outs on what we're talking about, but I know one of them in particular, and I guess we can go ahead and talk about it, right? Married with Children.
Yeah, that is on the list. Let me bring. I actually brought up a list. Now, mind you, these are in no particular order by any means, but we're going to start with our first one that every teenage boy loved to watch every week, and I'm not saying I wasn't watching that as well, but Baywatch.
Baywatch was,
or better known as
Babe Watch,
Boob Watch. Had many other names to it.
I mean, but even it wasn't just about like that, right? I mean, they had what's his name? Hasselhoff. They had Hasselhoff. There's so many memes of Hasselhoff out there. Look, they even had Hasselhoff on SpongeBob at one point, like doing this whole skit on SpongeBob. So that's a very iconic movie, and like you said, that was every teenage boy watched that. But do you remember like that would not make it? Well, I mean, no, that would make it today. That would. No,
I don't think it would.
They would just have less clothes on.
No, I think you'd have more clothes on.
You think so?
Yes, because I think what was the reason everybody watched it? Of course, why did every teenager, young boy watch that? To watch the slow mo of Pamela Anderson.
Exactly.
Because but now you're going to have all the feminist groups that are going to come up and say no, that's not going to happen. Or you're going to have less slow-mo. We're not going to get slow-mo anymore.
Can't get slow-mo anymore. I could see that being politically incorrect.
Yes, I could very see that.
Could you see him like slow-mo and Hasselhoff as well? Well, if you're going to slow-mo the girls, you got to slow-mo the guys.
Oh, please don't slow-mo the Hoff. Please don't slow-mo the Hoff. Now, mind you guys, we went through and pulled out, I think, was it 10, and we even have, I didn't put them on the list. We do have a couple honorable mentions, but mind you, these were ones that came out of the 90s, have been discontinued. Some of our honorable mentions are actually ones that still have gone on in later on in past the 90s. But you guys are actually bringing up some great ones over here in the chat as well. You know, with these are not on our list, so I'm gonna bring them up real quick. Saved by the Bell, wonderful show. Watched a lot of Saved by the Bell as I
didn't watch that much of that show.
Oh, I love that show. We had 90210, another great classic show. Wasn't huge on it, but Saturday morning, just overall Saturday morning cartoons. I was sad when I became a parent and I realized they didn't have Saturday morning cartoons anymore. What is up with that?
They don't have Saturday morning cartoons anymore?
No.
Sure they do. What do you mean?
No, there are no Saturday morning cartoons anymore. That was the greatest part of a child is you wake up on Saturdays at like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning and you go down and you watch cartoons until about 11 o'clock.
Yeah,
wrestling comes on.
Scooby-Doo and Garfield and all the legends. All the legends. Are you serious? They don't have that anymore?
No.
He-Man. That's when you watch He-Man and Transformers, the real Transformers too.
The real Transformers,
garbage they try and like pass off as a Transformer now. I mean, like when Bumblebee was an actual like Volkswagen and Bebop was a boombox. I mean, not the garbage they try and pass off today.
Ninja Turtles. Come on, man.
Are you being serious? There's no more.
There are no more Saturday morning cartoons.
That's garbage. That hurts.
Pop Teep makes a very good point here. Kids don't wake up early. They only wake up after 12, which my youngest, she still wakes up early, but my oldest, man, if you let her, she will sleep until like 9, 10 o'clock. She will. I don't know what it is. I was never that kid. I was that kid that was up at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I had to watch my cartoons.
Exactly.
So I had to get up and watch my cartoons. And I see somebody over there that said an eat bowl of cereal. Absolutely. That's probably where my obsession with like the cereal like pops came from.
I still love, from mine too. You know, things like Captain Crunch, Frosted Flakes, Frosted Mini Wheats. I mean, you got your breakfast. You knew that Saturday morning cartoons was on. You got your breakfast. You sat there with your cereal and you ate. That was the greatest part about it. Hey, see, I was talking. Who shows up? We got Konnichiwa. K Titus, buddy. What's up, Titus?
Buddy? How did you say that again?
Konnichiwa? Hopefully I said that right.
I don't know.
That's probably the only Japanese word I actually know.
You're braver than me. I would have never tried to say that. Never tried to like take that out of my mouth.
Now I did find. Now, mind you, all the ones on this list, I think we're basing this off of some great TV shows. But we also wanted to see have they been Funko'd? But first, we need to get in the chat because I actually want to see. I want a yay or nay. Should Baywatch of old? Now I know they brought the other Baywatches back, but Baywatch of old. Should Baywatch of old be brought back? Yes or no? What do you think, bud?
I'm gonna say that I wasn't never really that into Baywatch. If they brought it back, I would possibly watch it, but I don't know that I would. So I would say no. They can pass on that one.
So, and to be honest with you, I don't think it would last very long because, to be honest with the world of the internet nowadays and people's access to all different things, I don't think Baywatch would last very long anymore. And I think it had its place and it had its time. And I personally don't think.
Yeah,
it needs to be there anymore.
I don't think so. I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that one was catered around the 13, 14, 15-year-old male. There wasn't much of a story there. There was some slow-mos of Pamela Anderson. So I would say no.
Slow-mos.
I mean, I would just say no. I'm with you. That's a big thumbs down.
But talking about Baywatch, they did release a few pops. They do have a few pops here. We've got a pop of the Hasselhoff of the Hoff. As Mitch Buchanan, and also we got Pamela Anderson, CJ Parker. I think those are the only two I've been able to find that they've released from Baywatch.
I don't think there's any other ones either. And that goes back to that sometimes we get caught on certain characters, and I don't know that necessarily we should, because me and you both know that there was lots more cast members than just these two, but I can't remember any of them offhand. I mean, so and that's why they didn't make them.
And I wanted to bring this up too, and Dave did bring it up. He said he did like the movie with The Rock. that right there, that first of all, the movie, I'll watch it because it's one of those I don't have to think or anything. It was just a very silly movie, but that movie right there proved that Baywatch can never come back.
Yeah, I mean I thought that was a pretty like B movie.
Yeah.
I mean that was not the best movie in the world. What do we got next?
Yes, and we all know that Pamela Anderson was not hired for her acting
ability. No, she definitely wasn't hired for any acting ability. That's
and I do agree that the Hoff did peak at Knight Rider. Knight Rider did not make our list, but I think that was more of an 80s.
Yeah, Knight Rider would have been more of an 80s thing.
That was more of an 80s
that would have definitely been more of an 80s thing. And I don't necessarily know that he peaked in Knight Rider. You got to give him some kind of credit. I mean, for his age, he looked decent in that show.
He still looked good. I mean, for the Hoff and being a strong character, I think he did fantastic. And of course, if you I don't know if we have anybody that watches us in Germany, but I know he was huge in Germany.
And he could have never like done another Knight Rider role. I mean, look, that was one of those 1 in a million like hitting the lottery roles that he got, kind of like we were talking about Deadpool earlier with Matt Damon. That's one of those like the lightning struck at just the right place at just the right time, and he just got into that role. And that just doesn't happen twice in people's careers, right?
No,
not normally, anyways.
No, but a lot of people still give him credit nowadays. So next one we got Friends.
I know almost nothing about this one.
Friends, I enjoyed that show, and I thought, I could still go back and watch it. I know they have them, I think, on Netflix or something. One of those shows now, you can watch them all. They are a great show. It's comical. You got Chandler and Joey in there, which are just straight comedy, and then of course you got to me the great Jennifer Aniston. Out of that group, who became bigger than everybody in that show.
That's about the only thing I know from that show is that Brad Pitt messed up and divorced Jennifer Aniston. I mean, that's about the only thing in that show that I know. I don't know much of any else to it, and I don't even think, do they have pops of the Friends?
Yes, and we are going to go. We do have a sheet right here. We do have all of them. I think they've only brought one line out, and I could be wrong on that, but this is the only one I had found as far as. And I know that this line alone, I've seen it on eBay. People do go crazy for trying to collect the entire set of them. People absolutely love them. There's a huge following of Friends. Now, I can't say that I've seen every game show, or I mean, I've seen every show of it, but I do know that a lot of times on like Facebook, you can go to those Facebook videos and you can watch clips. And it's just absolutely hilarious. I mean, the show came out at the perfect time. It's kind of like Seinfeld. And mind you guys, Seinfeld is not on the list, but for its time, Seinfeld came out at the perfect time for what it was.
Oh yeah, no, look, it had a huge following, and I actually kind of like Seinfeld. Seinfeld was one of those dry humors you had to kind of like understand. Friends had to have a huge following. They did a lot of episodes. I mean, so they had to have a huge following. I never really got that into it. I'm kind of surprised to see that there's pops in this one, because some of the ones on our list don't have pops, and I would think that maybe they were a little bigger than this show. I mean, maybe they weren't.
It could be. And of course, our buddy over at JKL, he's on top of it with the knowledge. They said there were 2 waves of Friends, but both sold out the first wave for a buttload of cash. Yeah, I don't agree. You can't. I've never been able to see find a Friends Funko in the wild. Nonetheless, the only time I've ever seen one is on eBay. They go. People love them.
Well, for me, this is one of those learning experiences with Funko. You're forever finding that there's pops out there that you didn't even know exist. This is one of them for me.
Yeah. But as far as a Friends comedy show, again, is Friends, where'd my mouse go? Is Friends a movie that, or a TV show that should be brought back? Yes or no? Chat, yes or no?
What are you going to say? I'm going to say I don't have a vote in this one.
I'm going to say no, only because I think they created the greatest cast that made that show up. And just like someone had pointed out in the chat that I'd seen recently, Chase's Kingdom, the guy who played Chandler, he's huge. He's a big dude now. He can't bring him back for a reboot. And I really don't think they could put together another cast like that to bring something like that back. I mean, I think you could bring it back and it could still be popular.
I think I think chat rooms kind of split over there. I think the chat rooms like split 50-50 down the center. I mean, so maybe it's one of them that they should consider bringing back. I mean, it had to be hugely popular to sell out on the pops, anyways. Or at least in my opinion, right? I mean, maybe my opinion is not right, but that's where I would stand with that.
So I say overall, I say Friends is one that needs to be brought back.
I guess it's a thumbs up.
So something to think about.
And it's definitely something to think about.
And out there, if you were out there doing them yard sales and doing them things, and you find a Friends Funko Pop, snag that bad boy up. Hey, it's popular.
So I always hear these stories of people finding these great pops at yard sales. Why have I never seen a pop at a yard sale?
Oh, I do. I've done it plenty of times.
Really?
And the thing is, sometimes I've gone to yard sales. Mind you, I haven't been to yard sales much lately because of the whole COVID thing. But you find two different ways when you go to yard sales. You find either you got people that actually know what their value of their pops are, and typically, I'll kind of shut off unless they're finding good deals, or you're going to find people that just toss a whole bunch of pops onto a table or a blanket on the ground and just like, oh, $5 for any of them. And they have absolutely no idea what I ended up finding an old man Logan vaulted pop for $5. It was trending on eBay and Funko for about 30.
Oh, well, I mean, I guess that's not too bad.
The only thing I don't feel right doing sometimes when I do that is bringing out the app in the middle of there. I'm sitting in your yard scanning all your Funko Pops.
Yeah,
to me, I don't seem right doing that.
I would be okay doing that. I mean, I would be okay with that.
Be like, yeah, I'm going to scan this. I'm going to find a real hot one. Hey, hey, what about $3 now?
That's right.
Especially if I find a good one. Hey, that's what a garage sale is for. Is wheeling and dealing, right?
That's right.
All right. So what we got next on the list? Third Rock from the Sun.
Here's another.
This is one you had talked about. You didn't know anything about. No. I absolutely love Third Rock from the Sun. I think it brought together. It had a John Lithgow in this. You had young. I always forget his whole name because it's long. John Gordon Levitt. Something like that. He's a fantastic actor. He's the one that in the last Christopher Nolan movie he played Robin, or you just found out he was Robin by the end of the movie. But fantastic, very comedic movie, or not movie, TV show. It was basically based around almost like a Coneheads type premise. You remember Coneheads, right?
I do remember Coneheads, yes.
Where they're aliens essentially but for them they had human form, but they were aliens stuck on Earth, and so they were trying to figure out the ways of Earth and stuff like that. But great cast of characters. I think that was another one kind of like Friends. I think they just did. They hit they just did great casting and I don't think you could cast that show again.
I just don't know enough about it to comment on it. I see the Bearded Barbarian said that I was too busy looking for Wormy. No, I just, we didn't have cable TV growing up, so we didn't spend a whole lot of time inside. I really liked my cars. I really liked hanging out with my friends outside. I mean, so some of these shows just straight past me somehow, and this was one of them that just straight went past me, and I just don't know a whole lot about it. And
you got to remember, guys, even especially some of the younger people in this chat. Mind you, I was the same way. I was that kid. For me, growing up in Massachusetts, as soon as it was just light snow and there was barely snow, we had our bicycles out, and we were out. I mean, there was days, especially when the summertime when school was out. I mean, a lot of you guys I know can relate to me on this. Back in the day, it was, growing up in Massachusetts, we had our bikes. We were out all day, whether we were at one person's house, another person's house, or even just stopping in. But we were outside all day. And whether we were hurting ourselves, I know I had fair share of falling out of trees and hurting myself quite a bit. But we were always out doing something. And the only rule back then, and I know you know this one, only rule back then was you had to be back on that porch by the time that the street lights came on.
Well, we didn't have street lights because I lived
Oh, you
way
guys
out
have
in the country.
okay.
But I had the same principle, right? I had to be on the porch before it went dark. So as it was starting to get dark, you knew it was time to get home, right? I mean, you knew that was like that was the sun is going down. It's time to go. Now in the summertime, that got a little cooler, right? Because sometimes the sun doesn't go down till 9:30.
Oh yeah.
So sometimes you got to stay out till 9:30 before you had to be back home. But so I guess for some of these shows, the lack of cable and me not staying inside, just I missed them. And this was one of them that I just missed. It sounds to me though like it was a spinoff of the old Alf.
Sort of. I mean, it was a slightly different premise, but yeah, Alf was more of an '80s show. Another great show that I do remember watching when I was a young kid. But yeah, it's. I know there's been a lot of premise type shows of the whole alien coming to Earth and getting stuck on Earth type thing. Like I said, Coneheads was another one, but it's always fun. And I think the key to those types of shows is the casting.
Right. And I mean, that's the key to just about every show, right? Is the casting. I see the bearded barbarian said that his job was to hold the rabbit ears.
I was that way. And of course, back then you had to get the tinfoil. If you wanted to get more, you had to go into the kitchen, get the tinfoil, wrap the rabbit ears in tinfoil, and kind of hold it, because I was the youngest. So, of course, I was the antenna back then.
You were the antenna?
Yeah, and you were hoping you could hold enough so that way you could hang your head around the TV so you could watch too, But and then visually impaired said he grew up in Massachusetts, and yes, the rule back then was you didn't have to be in the house, you had to be on that front porch by the time the streetlights came on, or else you got a butt whooping back then.
Right. I mean, same principle. You just got to be there before it gets dark.
Exactly.
Principle. What do we have next in our lineup?
No. Third Rock from the Sun does not have any Funko Pops. I would like to see them do some Funko Pops. But I think going back to before we jump to the next one, I was going to say let's go to the chat to see if they would bring back Third Rock from the Sun.
But I almost forgot about that.
I think.
Well, let's ask them anyways.
Would you guys bring Third Rock from the Sun back? My perspective is I would like to leave that where it is. Only because there's been so many different takes of the aliens getting stuck in America or on Earth type premise. So I think it's been done a lot, to be honest with you. But I mean, I'll still watch Third Rock from the Sun today.
Yeah, that's one of them that I'm going to stay away from again. I mean, just because I don't have that much knowledge in it. It's one of them that I just don't really know. It sounds like Alf to me. And visiting Alf is pretty cool. Yeah.
So I would say I'm going to go with no. Although I think it's a great show for its time, and and I'll still watch it today. I don't think it should be brought back.
It sounds reasonable. I mean, I don't know enough about it, and I didn't see the chat room saying a whole lot about it either. The chat room's trying to get uninvolved over there, and they're going to have to get to going again. I see a.
Oh no, they're still up there. They're coming up with them.
Says worth a rewatch. I mean, right, but is it worth making a whole nother version?
Is it worth bringing it back? There's a difference. Rewatch, yes, I will. A lot of these shows, I will rewatch them all day. Friends, I'll rewatch all day. But would I want to see it come back to today on either two premises? Either you bring the original cast back, which do I really want to see a bunch of old friends sitting on a couch? No, not really. Or two, you try to recast it, but was that cast so good that it's really going to be extremely hard to recast that?
I don't know. Hey, have a good night, Funko PDX. We appreciate it, bud.
Hey, yeah, thanks for coming by. Yes, we appreciate it. So next on our list, we've got That 70s Show.
This is one of them that I'm going to tell you that I don't know a whole lot about, but I do all at the same time. So this is one of them that I kind of watched. Probably didn't watch the whole thing, and I didn't get into it that much. But when I had free time, I could sit down and watch this one.
Well, this is another one I'd say was great casting, and
yes,
you just about everybody from that show went on to have great careers. I mean, come on, you got the main two out of it. You got Ashton Kutcher, Mila Kunis, which of course are married now, have children, but both have gone on to have fantastic careers. You got Topher Grace, fantastic actor. He, to be honest, I think he's had a very respectable career. And then, of course, you've got a lot of I can't remember the guys that was it Fez. I think that was his character's name.
Yes.
I don't remember his real name in real life, but it was a great show, and
this was a really good show with a really good storyline to it. And I guess I kind of forgot that this was Ashton Kutcher's start. I mean, this was kind of like what started to make him famous. Now, I know that he was in some other stuff like right around the same time, but I don't think he got recognition for any of that as much as he did the 70s show.
And in fact, this is right here. See, this is the type of parent you remember back in the 70s, the 80s, and even the 90s. Now, after that, it kind of gets fuzzy, but there's a lot of people up here, like Comic Book Publisher says, I missed that 70s show. On the inside, I'm Red. Everybody was Red. Red was the man because he was that guy that wasn't politically correct, but he called you dumbass a lot, which I think was one of the greatest lines. But on top of it, he was that hard, loving parent that I think is missing a lot of times in today's day and age. But he cared, but he wanted him to do great. And sometimes you got to be that hard, loving person to make that point.
It's a really good show, though. I mean, that was a really good one. I'd like to see that one come back.
Yeah,
I'll give my vote on that one.
Guys, put your votes up. Thumbs up, yes or no. Would you bring that 70s show back? But again, that kind of falls back into that same category. Can you bring back the magic of that cast? I
think so. I think that they could get the actors today and bring that back. I mean, if they held the same storyline, the same way of filming it, I think they could do that. I mean, because it was what in the 90s, based in the 70s, it would be the same philosophy, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I knew Jesse Lee was going to bring this up. Yes, Topher Grace in Spider-Man 3 was not his finest moment. No. If you guys don't remember, the Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire series, he played basically Venom. He had Venom. I can't remember the actual character's name. Brock, something Brock. I know you guys are going to hit me up on this in the chat, but he had played him, and he did not do very well at it at all. But he has had a very good career in my eyes, I think. But where are we getting? We're getting so far. We got a thumbs down. We've gotten a lot of hell yes for me. We've got some thumbs up. So I think overall, Eddie Brock. See, why did I know JK and L is always on point with the facts? Eddie Brock. Yep. Thanks, guys. I couldn't, for some reason, I was having a brain fart over here. Yeah, I do remember. I think they did try with the 80s show, and I think it only lasted one season. I think there was a whole different, but I think you could bring another premise of some of this stuff back. So I'm gonna say, I think we're all saying thumbs up.
Yeah,
I think we're all giving it a thumbs up.
Easily bring that one back.
I definitely think that can be brought back. But unfortunately, there are no that 70s show Funko Pops. Funko, what's up with that?
Well,
come on.
So here's one of them that I can relate to. So you were telling me earlier that you didn't really watch Columbo. Don't know a whole lot about it.
I have no idea.
So Columbo was basically this just genius detective, right? And he was just great at solving mysteries and murders and all kinds of nonsense like that. But he was also a germaphobe. And this is probably why I like Columbo, because I can relate to everything Columbo was going through. Like, he wouldn't shake hands. He didn't open doors without a paper napkin. It was just this whole craziness. So I can relate.
Wait, didn't they do a premise of that with Monk?
They did.
There a show called Monk? The same way he was a big germaphobe.
Yes, it was almost two of them competing for each other on which one was going to be the better. Now at the end of the day, Monk would have been the better of the two, but that was the basis of the show. And Bearded Barbarian's right. He was a really weird and awkward guy. I mean, just like the Monk. I mean, he was weird, awkward. It was probably.
Sorry, actually, I just stopped real quick because I think Jesse Lou actually just called us out on this one, and I did not fact check before we did this. Is Columbo 90s? No, so. It actually is not. No, it actually came out in February 20th, 1968.
Oh well, I guess we missed the marker on that one.
Yeah.
God, it came up in my feeds as 90s though.
Oh, okay. If we're gonna go with the same premise, I would say Monk. And I don't know if Monk what was Monk's air date on this. I forgot to fact check some of my. See, we always got the chat on top of calling us out on that.
Maybe we were thinking about Monk instead of Columbo.
No, because that came out in 2002.
Even though they were just about the same, it was just about the same show, and
Wow.
that's probably what happened. Is Columbo Monk was a remake of Columbo because they were just about the same character, just about the same storyline. They were both awkward. They were both germaphobes. It was just kind of insane, to be honest with you. He says, "I knew you're old." Yeah, that's called not having cable. Is what that's called. And you watch whatever comes on.
It's called watching reruns. So
yeah,
we're gonna skip over the rest of this because we didn't fact check ourselves before.
We're gonna skip Columbo now.
Now here's one that's a classic, and I'm gonna sit here and say that there's not one person here that can't say at some point, and one way or the other, maybe you didn't watch the entire series, but you watched the Golden Girls.
The Golden Girls was kind of awesome. So maybe not so awesome as a kid, but as you got older and you realized that the characters and what they were and kind of what was the idea behind the show, the Golden Girls are the gangsters. They're just straight gangsters.
Yeah, it's funny is the whole premise of basically like four old ladies, living at their retired time. It was weirdly addictive. I do even remember back in the 90s, it wasn't something because again, back then you didn't have your TV viewer. If you really want to know what was on TV, you had to go out and get a TV guide. Well, we never got TV guides as a kid.
Oh,
so
man.
it was. You remember that?
I almost forgot about TV guides, man. We used to have those TV guides every week in your house so that you knew what was on TV.
Exactly. And if you didn't have a TV guide back then, guys, I'm sorry if some of you guys that didn't live in the 90s, or if you remember, you just had to flick through the channels. Oh, yeah. You just flick through the channels until you find something you like. And there were so many times that I would flick, and all of a sudden you got Golden Girls, and you're like, I don't know why I am enjoying this, but I am. It's a train wreck that you can't stop watching.
I forgot all about the TV guides. How many people in our chat right now remember what a TV guide is? I bet there's not a whole lot of them over there that honestly remember what the TV guide is. I mean, that was every week while you were at the grocery store, your mom would have to pick up the TV guide, and then you weren't allowed to touch the TV guide because if the TV guide got moved from the side of the couch, then nobody knew what was on TV.
Yeah, nobody knew what was going to be on TV.
and it would have stupid crossword puzzles in it and just all kind of craziness going on with the TV guide.
And JKL, I do agree with you. Yes, Golden Girls did end in 1992, and we did talk about this a little bit. But because I think it was such a widely popular, and it was in the 90s, didn't first air in the 90s, but it was in the 90s. We classified it on this list.
Yeah, it was very early 90s, but it was still 90s, and there was probably reruns that went all the way into the 2000s. I mean, so I still have to say that would be a 90s show.
I'm right here with the Bearded Barbarian. We got the free ones from the newspaper. We weren't that wealthy. It was funny. TV Guides wasn't that expensive, but it was still on that level of you go to the grocery store and they sold the TV Guides at the register, but you still look at it and you were like, I remember as a kid, we didn't grow up, with a lot of money as a kid, but yeah, we couldn't get the TV Guide. Because we was like, well, that's not part of the shopping list. We don't get the TV guide. Or every now and then we got it, but not very often.
We didn't have cable, so maybe that was the, maybe that was the trade-off.
And then, of course, but as technology grew, they basically just took all the information that was in the TV guide and popped it up on the TV.
Yes, they did. I mean, it's crazy now that you think about just how far we've gone in that, you don't need a TV guide anymore. You hit guide on your TV, and it gives you everything that's playing it, and 98% of it you don't even want to watch. And I haven't seen anything new on TV in months. I think Hollywood shut down or something, which is funny because I just can't imagine that they would shut down, but they must have.
Just change the name of the stream, dude. I love the 90s adjacent shows.
Adjacent shows.
Yeah. It's still classic ones.
That's right.
It's still classic ones. But this is one that I know a lot of people weren't familiar with this one that I noticed in the stream. And actually that's another one we forgot all about. Dinosaurs.
Yes.
That was a classic 90s show. That was awesome. We did forget about that one, to be honest with you. But yeah, I mean, I don't think you could bring this back because I don't think you could bring that cast. Of course you can't. Of course you can't bring the cast back.
You can't bring that back.
I don't think you could recast that.
No.
With
it'd be
people
so politically incorrect. You were talking earlier about like the uproar that would come. You know, the uproar that would come from a show like this. I mean, because you had one of the cast members that was like openly sleeping with as many people as she could. I mean, oh man, there would just be a stroke if they tried to make this show again. It would be a show about 4 nuns sitting somewhere doing nothing. Sitting there doing nothing while they were knitting is what the show would be about. 4 nuns knitting in a corner with nothing.
Now they do have Funko Pops for this, and I know that you can't really find those. People did grab those up pretty quickly, but I'm going to give this one a no. You can't bring this back.
You can't bring it back. As much as I would enjoy watching the reruns, you can't bring that back.
Yeah. So again, here's our next one, Sopranos. This is one you had to be privileged to watch because this was an HBO only.
Yeah, this is one of them that I never really seen. I know the movie. I know what the movie, not movie. I know the series. I know what it's about. I know that it was widely popular, but it was one of them that I didn't really watch. I was very surprised though to find out.
Sorry, I was checking on the chat. I know your wife brought up The Facts of Life. That was another great one. I do remember. See, a lot of times when we were going through this the other day, there's so many that you guys are bringing up, and I'm glad you guys are bringing this up. So we can at least give them credit because they were great shows. But a lot of times when we're putting together a list like this, I mean, originally I think our list was like 20 shows long, and we cut it down a little bit. So
we had to start backing it down.
Yeah, but yes, okay, we screwed up on the Columbo one. My bad. It is.
If that's the only one we screwed up on, we're in good shape.
Yeah. And was it you have? I think someone else changed. I'm singing the hell out of the Golden Girls theme right now.
I'm sorry. So.
And then Pop T, please emphasize on this. I want to know what you're talking about. There was an uproar about this a month ago. What are we talking about? The Golden Girls on this one?
Either the Golden Girls or the Sopranos. I mean, the Sopranos was a widely controversial thing as well. I mean, because it was all about mafia and killing and drugs and
JKL, take it easy, bud.
Take it easy, JKL. I guess I missed that message.
I do agree with Bearded Barbarian. I think it was a horrible ending. But you know what's funny is just like all great shows, especially HBO shows, the endings are always horrible. I mean, come on. I never watched it, but from what I heard, the last season of was it Game of Thrones? Everybody says was because I guess from what I understand, they killed everybody.
Well, either that or HBO just ends their stuff. It just the screen goes blank.
They make it so it can never come back.
Yeah. I mean, they just end it. It's like, oh, yeah, screen went blank. What do you mean? Well, atomic bomb fell. What? How do you end things? And look, I agree with everybody that's saying it. Even like you said, HBO just has horrible ways of ending stuff.
Dave, thanks for coming and joining us. We do appreciate it. Hey, Titus, that was the 80s. Boss the plane. That was
The plane,
tattoo was it? That was the 80s, I believe. And of course, In Living Color was that was another great one. That was, to me, I was more of an In Living Color than an SNL guy. But anyways, where was I? I was watching. So yeah, definitely let us know what you guys were talking about with that. But I do agree. I think Bearded Barbarian somewhere in here did say something about we do need another great mafia show, and I think Sopranos was a great mafia show, and that's why it had to be on HBO because of the graphic nature of it.
They could just make one about the Clintons. I mean, that'd be close, right? No hate comments. Just playing, guys. Haha, funny.
And again, comic book poster, we did bring up Boy Meets World. That was on our original list. We actually took that off. Not to say it's not a great 90s show, but we can only talk about so much within a show. Yeah, so I
don't know that I think they've kind of told all the stories of the mafia. I mean, don't you? I mean, you've had Scarface, you've had Al Capone, you've had The Godfather. I mean, The Godfather. If The Godfather is actually one of my favorite like movies, and there's a lot of people
love watching The Godfather.
There's a lot of people that never watch past the first one. You have to sit down and watch all of them, and it takes.
Now, granted, the first one is the best one,
but you have to watch them all.
But yes, I agree, you have to watch them all.
And it takes about 12 hours. It's 8 or 12 hours to complete it. But man, it's such a good storyline, and maybe it's not such of a great like theatrical movie, but man, it has a good storyline. I just don't know that there's that many like mafia guys out there left to tell stories about it, and I guess that's why I said the Clintons, right?
Because but I think because of the graphic nature of telling a mafia story, I think it's always going to be successful if you do it, because I mean, come on, everybody loves a train wreck, and whether it's graphic or not, people are going to watch it. So I don't think you can ever not do mafia TV shows or movies. So I think they're always going to be popular. But I think Sopranos was great for its time. It was a great cast, and rest in peace, to what's, I can't remember his name right now. But it's like Tiger King. So just keep watching.
This is one of them that I was extremely surprised to find out that there's no pops. Or
there are no pops for this. There are no pops.
I couldn't find any is where I'm going to put it. I'm not going to say necessarily there is none. I'm going to say that we couldn't find any, because I couldn't find any on this. And it was one of them that I was surprised at, because I know how popular this show was.
Yeah. When I was looking it up too, I was very surprised that there were no Sopranos characters, and I think you could do some real nice pops. Of course, some of them like some of the characters in there might be kind of fat little pops, but I mean, I'm just being realistic here.
It'll be okay. So what's your vote on this one? Yes or no?
I think yes. To be honest, because I don't think you can ever go wrong with a mafia type TV show. I just don't think you can. So for me, I say yes.
I'd say this one's a yes. I'm going to say yes. I just don't know that much about it, but they could always bring back a good mafia flick.
Yeah, you could always. I mean, that was just like you watched something like Casino where you had Pesci and De Niro. All time. Oh, I still love that movie. I can watch that movie to this day. But they had that Netflix movie that had Pesci and De Niro again talking, and also Al Pacino was in it. I can't remember. It was about the Jersey mobs and stuff like that from back. I can't remember. If you guys remember what the show of it is that was on Netflix, definitely hit me up. But it was it was like a 3-hour movie. I absolutely thought it was great.
I don't know the show, but if it had those two in it, I mean, I can only imagine. They're talking about Carol Baskin me up.
I'm laughing at comic book poster. It says, I don't think they can really sell a pop called Big Pussy.
Sure you could. Why not? They got them for everything else.
The Irishman. There you go. Thank you. I appreciate Pop T. Irishman. That was him. If you guys haven't watched The Irishman on Netflix, definitely it's a good, fantastic watch. So what do we got up next? Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Now, this is one I wasn't hugely on. My wife, she was a big Buffy fan back in the day. I mean, Sarah Michelle Gellar, I think, was a fantastic actress to begin with.
This is one of them that I really got into, but I didn't really get into it on the watching it on TV. Well, I'm watching it on TV, of course, but not watching it like the episodes on TV. So I would buy these whole like episodes at one time and then go through them that way. Does that do you remember when you can do that? I don't even know if you can still do that. You could buy the complete like series and just
the complete box series.
Yeah. And then just blast through them. And so that's where I watched this. This one actually had a show spinoff of it called Angel.
Yeah, Angel. Yeah.
It was to me equally as cool as Buffy. Now, but I think this would have been like pre-zombie.
But remember, this also came out because there was a movie back in the 90s that came out, was Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Completely different actress in it. I thought it was a fantastic movie. That movie I remember watching. The TV show, I never got into it personally. But like I said, I do remember my wife was a big Buffy and Angel fan back then.
This is just a good way of killing brain cells. It really never had a huge storyline to it. The storylines were always pretty much exactly the same from episode to episode. It was just 3 or 4 kids going out killing vampires. They were probably tripping on acid or something during all of this. I mean, that's
I just couldn't say that.
I mean, that's probably like the true backstory to the whole thing, like Alice in Wonderland. But it was just a nice way to kill brain cells. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of thought that went into it. There was some chick fighting vampires, and there was even like one series where she was in a mental hospital the whole time, and they had told her that none of this was real. I mean, so this was probably an Alice in Wonderland type story.
Mm-hmm. And I agree with Comic Book Poser on this, and I'm already going to say I'm going to give this a thumbs up. I would definitely be worth it, but they have this could definitely be rebooted. Buffy from all the new comics they have been creating, and there is a whole nother line, and so they could create a whole nother storyline. They just have to create the perfect cast again, and I think that would. And of course, we got Beer Barbarian. Pee Wee Herman was a vampire. You can't beat that. You couldn't.
I'm with you. I think that they could reboot this one easily. I don't think this one would be that hard to reboot because, like I said, this one wasn't about the acting. This one was a lot about the action and the stuff that was going on in the forefront, and not necessarily the storyline.
Okay, now I am actually surprised in this. Yes, I would have pegged you as being a Buffy fan. I actually would have, but yes, I do. I definitely agree with Comic Book Poser. I think this is a big thumbs up.
I think I could see this one again.
I think this could be rebooted. I think you could create a great cast with that premise, especially with some of the new storylines that have come out. And they do have Funko Pops for Buffy. Of course, you got Buffy, you got Angel, you got Willow. Which I'm sorry, I can never look at Willow without thinking American Pie. I'm sorry.
Yep. I'm going to tell you that that she's on the whole what is it called? Beat the 2 comedians. What are the 2 comedians? What are their names? Who are the 2 comedians? One of them acts like he's deaf.
From which one?
I can't think. I can't think of their names right now. Somebody tell me who they are. My wife can tell me who they are. Who are the 2 comedians I'm thinking about? She's actually the host of the show. It's Penn and Teller. So she's actually like the host of Penn and Teller. And so
is she?
Yes, she is. And she looks a lot different as an adult as she did then. It's kind of weird to see her as an adult versus like even in American Pie. It's 2 different, like she changed the way she looked a lot.
Yeah, but I can't just see her face without saying the line, the Bandcamp line. I'm sorry. And I don't want to say it because now it's already stuck in my head. But you can't. I mean, she, not to take anything away from her. I think she's a great actress, but but I will say the spike, the chase of the spike, I think was pretty cool. So changing into the vampire.
When I seen these pops, I was kind of disappointed, right? That they didn't have more of the vampires, because this show was always about the different vampires that were coming up, and they all looked different. So you had some of them that were super like metal. You had some of them that were super like, they had so many opportunities that I feel like they missed when they made these pops. They seriously should have made some more vampire pops with this one.
And a lot of people are putting on and said yes. A lot of people see her more as Lily from How I Met Your Mother. She did fantastic in How I Met Your Mother. That was another fantastic show. And I know they just recently brought out some, or they're bringing out some How I Met Your Mother Funko Pops. But yes, I think you could put her in there too. That was another great show. But I think me growing up in the 90s and remember seeing American Pie when it very first came out, that's just the first thing that pops in my head every time I see her for some reason.
But now I think Penn and Teller, because I kind of enjoy watching The Fool Us by Penn and Teller. If you've never seen that, go check that out, because it's just magicians trying to fool them.
No, I'm not going to do it again. My wife catches me on this. I think she does watch the lives. And she said that I'm a foul mouth, and I think I've dropped, on one live one time, I think I might have accidentally dropped an F-bomb, but I don't feel I say a whole lot. But yes, I did. I already said it, and I'm not going to say it again. So I'm not going to drop it again.
What are we worried about saying?
Huh?
What are we worried about saying? Comic Book Poster, go ahead and type over there what we're worried about saying. I'm curious as to what we're worried about saying.
He said here's a comment.
I'm waiting for it. All right, let me see. Look, no. I'm trying to. What did he say in American Pie that?
Oh, they were talking about where she uses her flute.
What do we say though? I mean, what am I missing?
We're just gonna leave it at that.
She's gonna leave it at okay. All right. Well, all right.
Your punishment is making me sing the Golden Girls theme song. No, because I know you probably still got that thing stuck in your head.
Well, so when I think of her now, I think of Penn and Teller. If y'all hadn't had a chance to check that out, check that out. I really enjoy watching that.
Hey, we got Funko Fridge in the house. What's up, bud?
Yeah, Funko Fridge. How are you doing, bud? We were talking about
Wayne.
we were talking about your accent earlier. Yeah, I'm trying hard. I mean, I was working on that one and I couldn't quite get it. It's funny you caught that.
Yep. I know where you're going with that. I wasn't grabbing it. I wasn't taking it.
I was throwing the bait out there. I was waiting on something to grab. Oh man. So
so next one we got Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Now I do know they and before we even decide yes or no they're going to do it, I know they already are doing a new take on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air that's already in production.
I think they should. I mean, this was a really good
show.
But
now it's not going to be a comedy though. It's going to be a drama.
What, are you serious?
Yes. Remember about a year ago, a guy had made more of a dramatic trailer for Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when Will Smith dropped his Bel-Air clothing line. It's gonna be more of a drama than a comedy.
Thumbs down it. We're not watching that if it's a drama. That's stupid.
I don't know. I'm not.
Great comedy. I mean, it was very family oriented. Always had this like message they were trying to send. I really enjoyed watching that one. Thumbs down that though. That's garbage.
One time at band camp, I shoved flute up at beep. I'm not saying it.
Oh, one time at band camp, just shoved a flute in.
We're gonna leave that one there.
Yeah, we'll leave that right there.
You guys are all bad influences. That's what it is. Y'all are bad influences.
As my grandma would say, all of your minds are in the gutter. All of your minds are in the gutter.
But I think the original premise. I mean, that was Will Smith's first big acting gig, and I think that's what made the world fall in love with him was Fresh Prince. He was just that comedic. He could be comedic. He could be serious. He could be all of that at the same time, and it was just great. And of course, nobody could doubt the theme song.
He had a great cast, though. I mean, let's not
Carlton,
their dad, their sister. They had a great cast. The friend that always came over all the time. I can't remember their names.
Jeff. It's Jazzy Jeff.
Phenomenal cast. I mean, they had
the butler.
Phenomenal cast of people, and so it wasn't just Will Smith, but it was definitely his moment where he shined the most. But it was he could have never done that without the great cast.
And the great part about Fresh Prince is yes, it was a comedy show, but they hit on big topics.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. They always had this great story, this wholesome family orientated story that came from it. I can't see him not being a comedy. I just can't.
I don't know where they're gonna go with the drama. I don't think they should tarnish the great legacy of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air with a drama. To be honest with you, that's where I see it. I know Will Smith is pushing it, but I don't see it, to be honest with you. But I think it was great because, like I said, back in the 90's when this was out. They talked about all those topics that shows didn't. They talked about the drugs. They talked about, of course, his dad ditching him and not wanting to be with him. They hit all the big topics, and they didn't shy away from anything. So I think it was just a great cast. I know that I can't remember the dad's name, but yes, he has passed away. No, but also another great one.
This is where I was slightly disappointed, and I don't know if you found any, but I couldn't find any pops on this.
No, I could not find any pops, and this was probably out of all of them, I was most surprised on. How do you not have a Funko Pop of him in his school backwards jacket? Nothing. Colorful pop. I mean, come on. I mean, maybe they just haven't licensed, or maybe they haven't gotten the license for it, but maybe when the reboot comes in, maybe they're going to bring back some of them. I don't know, but I think they were completely missing something by not having a Funko line of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I just completely agree.
I seen Will Smith in a lot of like other things, but I just didn't see him in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air as a Funko Pop. I mean, they have him in Men in Black, they have him in all kinds of other pops, just nothing in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and I was kind of disappointed because I had never really thought about looking for it either, though. So
yeah,
you know, there was that. I'm gonna say thumbs up.
I would say, and I'm not even going to put the image up because I'm going to say thumbs up if you're going to remake it as a comedy, thumbs down if you're going to make it as a drama. I mean, that's just how I'm feeling. I'm not giving it a chance right now.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel about it. I mean, if you're going to make it the way you're making it now, so let's do it. If you're not, then I'm going to do a big thumbs up on that one.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to go with one of my favorite TV shows, and why I was able to watch this as a child, I have no idea, but this is one of my ultimate favorite TV shows. As a kid, Al Bundy was the man back in the day, and I will still say it's still one of my favorite shows, and I can watch even the early episodes to this day and still laugh my butt off.
This show right here was the most politically incorrect show that I can possibly think of. I love this show. I'm with you. This was probably one of my favorite shows of all times, but it was so politically incorrect. I mean, in every shape, way, form, and fashion. I mean, all the way down to the fact that he was a woman's shoe salesman. I mean, it was so politically incorrect. And so when me and my wife got married and we were coming out, and you know how the DJ announces to parties as they come out, and you know, they're announcing everybody, and as they come out, we had this song that the DJ put together, and it was a bunch of different songs all put together. So one of them was like, I'm Sexy and I Know It, and it was just it was 7 or 8 songs all cut into one, and that's what we came out to. That's what we did our first dance to, and believe it or not, Married with Children was one of those. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's what your wife just said.
It was a whole lot of fun, and we came out, you know, this is just very iconic. So I actually have like 2 of these pops on hand. So
I have a Bud Bundy.
So I got the Chase version.
Oh, the Peggy Chase. The Peggy Chase is real cool. I'll bring that up here. I've got them here.
So and then I've got the actual, you know, Al Bundy.
I was so disappointed because I was not in Funko Pops at the time, but I remember I was at Target one time and I saw the Polk High Al Bundy, and I had it in my cart, and I was going to buy it, and for some reason I decided to put it back. I wasn't into Pops at the time, but I liked it because it was Married with Children and it was Al Bundy. But yeah, I definitely agree here with Pop T. Just like I said, you know, I love this as a show. I have no idea why it was okay for me. Well, maybe it wasn't okay for me to watch as a kid. Maybe my mom didn't like me watching as a kid, but we all watched it as a kid, and people didn't have a problem with it. If we're going to talk about it as a reboot standpoint, or even bring back the same premise, the show would never even fly in today's world. Never. Not a chance in hell.
Never. He would be called so many things. He'd be called a bigot. He'd be called a racist. He'd be called sexist. I mean, he would be called so many things, and that's what when I was saying it's so politically incorrect. This was such a politically incorrect show in every shape, way, form, and fashion, even down to his neighbors. It was politically incorrect, but it was a hysterically well done show. I mean, it was just a hysterically well done show. And Bearded Barbarian, I did not have my hands tucked in my pants. I wish I would have thought of that at the time.
But that brings back a great point: is yes. how many other TV shows of the day could you have where the classic image was the dad with his hand in his pants?
None. Zero.
It wouldn't happen.
It would never fly today. I mean, all the way down to his daughter, almost like being a prostitute. I mean, she was like like they never came out and like full blown said it, but it was always like on
then of course then you got, you know, a Bud Bundy who is you know the world's greatest peeping Tom.
Yeah, I mean it's so bad. Never make it today.
You know, and then of course always making fun of the neighbor for, you know, her chickenness of herself.
Never
but yeah. If you even watch today, you can go onto YouTube and watch greatest Al Bundy insults, and it's still fun, you know, especially from talking about the fat woman in the shoe store, to just every part of that show was hilarious. And the thing is, back then, the thing is, I don't think people took a show like that and really I don't think you really put that into this is how things are. They didn't take it serious. Back then, it was a purely comedic show, and that's what it was.
Yeah.
And that people took it for that. But nowadays, everybody takes every show and has to try to place it into what the world is and leave it as it is. It was just a purely comedic show, and leave it at that.
It was just simply an entertaining show. It was nothing else. Just an entertaining show. And I used to love this show, but I can tell you now that it would never, ever make it today.
No.
That's one of them that they would tear it apart before it ever settled down good. No one would ever take it for the humor that it's worth. I seen somebody said something about SNL being up there or In Living Color. Yeah. Look, none of those shows would make it today. I mean,
SNL of course does, but In Living Color with Fire Marshal Bill or Homie the Clown, it would never last today.
No.
But then again, you also, with Married with Children, you can't take anything away from Ed O'Neill. Ed O'Neill was not just his acting, but his facial features in the show, how he carried himself in the show. Ed O'Neill was the man. I'm sorry, he was just one of the greatest actors.
Look, I agree with you. It was very well done, very well done.
So, but as much as I would love to thumbs up this, it would never happen in this day and age.
Have to go thumbs down.
It is what it is.
As much as I would like to see it, it's just not going to happen.
No. Star Trek, I think we got two more. Star Trek, Next Generation. I was not a Trekkie. I never really watched it too much.
Right.
I remember my mom was a big Star Trek person, so it was on in the house from time to time. But I was never a Trekkie.
I was going to say the same thing. My parents were huge Star Wars fans. I mean, I know the whole Vulcan Death Grip, all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. But I never really got into it. I mean, it's Spock. It had really good characters in it. But it was just never nothing that I really got into. I think that they still say "Beam me up, Scotty," though, right? I mean, I think I still hear that to this day.
Yeah. I mean, but there's still. But the thing is, with Star Trek, from the movies to the TV shows, there's been so many spinoffs of Star Trek that, to me, I'm so out of it that I don't know if any of the spinoffs connect to one another. If they just completely keep redoing the whole idea, I don't know. I've never been enough of a Star Trek to know. And Pop T makes another good point. I've heard that the Picard series, which I guess is a spinoff of the Next Generation, on Amazon Prime, is really, really good. But again, I'm not a Trekkie. I just don't
like
care
you said, though, they've had so many spinoffs. I mean, I can't keep up with this one. I do know that I found some pops on this one, though. I mean,
yes, there are a whole line of pops for the Next Generation. You got, I mean, the biggest ones I can remember, of course, Data and
Klingon.
Klingon, Jordai De La Forge. And the only reason I always remember Jordai is, I don't know, and this comes back to another old show. I think it was on PBS too. Is the same guy who played Jordai was also the guy from Reading Rainbow. I don't know if any of you guys remember that as a kid, but I do remember watching Reading Rainbow, and that was the same guy that did both of them.
I don't remember Reading Rainbow.
I know somebody. I can't be the only one that's got to remember that. Maybe I'm just that weird one. I don't know. But of course, then you got Jean-Luc Picard, which again is a lot of people are going to better know him as Professor X from X-Men as well. So, and then our last one, which was one of my ultimate favorites, Home Improvement. Tim, the Tool Man, Taylor.
Yeah, we talked about this one and us putting it on there. I think this was a favorite for everybody, and the chat will have to tell me if I'm right on that one. But I think this one appealed to everyone. Yeah, I mean, it is the reckless guy. I mean, the funny thing is that I'm probably Tim Allen, to be completely honest. If we're going to be honest, that's probably me. I think I can fix everything, but I almost never fix anything. I mean, it's.
Well, I think that's what it was. It was that guy that wanted to fix everything, but he really didn't have the skills to do it. And we all know whether that's someone like us, whether that is us, or whether that is somebody it was just great because I mean, I'm sorry, Tim Allen, he's a fantastic actor. I think he's funny as hell. And to me, Home Improvement is a classic, to be honest with you.
Bearded Barbarian, I'm seriously reckless. So I mean, I am lucky. I mean, I'm seriously reckless. But this is seriously a classic. I mean, even the spinoffs on this one with what's his name? I mean, what is Tim Allen? Is that his name?
Yep, Tim Allen.
I mean, even the spinoff shows that he's done to me are really, really well done. Now we don't have the creepy neighbor with the fence, even though we should put a fence up.
But even that, look at that. You did an entire was it 9-year TV show with only showing the top half of your face.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he only showed like the top half of his face, which was pretty awesome.
And if you ever remember, I do remember watching the final episode of Home Improvement, and at the end, all of them came out and did a standing, and he still came out with a fence. He was holding a little picket fence right in front of his.
Holding a little piece of a fence.
Yeah, at the end, of course, he removed it, but you really didn't see his face until it was there. But yeah, you had the creepy neighbor over the fence. But Last Man Standing was also a good show with Tim Allen. I think it was like an opposite Home Improvement, because again, Home Improvement had 3 boys in that, whereas Last Man Standing they had 3 girls. So kind of same premise, although I think the wife on Home Improvement was much more comical than the one that was in Last Man Standing. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, and I think that he does a good role acting regardless as to who's around him in every spinoff that he's done, though. I mean, and I think they have a different one now, right? What's the one where he owns is that Last Man Standing? I don't think so, where he owns some kind of bait and tackle shop.
No, he's the that is Last Man Standing, where he was like the marketing guy for the bait and tackle.
That was a good spin-off of it. I mean, so did they make pops of this one? Because
I could not find any pops for Home Improvement, and I think that's another good one, kind of like Friends. I think a lot of people would jump on a Home Improvement line. I mean, especially I would love to see them make a pop of him holding the fence.
That's what I was about to ask you. How would they make the creepy neighbor? I mean, would you like make a fence with a face sitting over it? I mean, what would you do?
I don't know, but I would like to see it, to be honest with you. I would like to see them get creative with that. And then, of course, your wife does point out, of course, every middle school kid back then, and I was in middle school when this show was very popular.
I would have been too.
Everybody was all about Jonathan Taylor Thomas back then.
I guess I didn't realize that. People. I guess I didn't even realize that. Was that like a thing? Like the girls had a crush on the boys from Home Improvement?
Oh yeah, well I don't know if it's necessarily like the youngest in the show, but of course Jonathan Taylor Thomas and I believe the oldest was Zach something. I can't remember his last name, but I remember when I was a kid that everybody was, especially Jonathan Taylor Thomas, everybody was all over him and stuff like that. And he's come back to do things from time to time. I know he did. He made an appearance on Last Man Standing at one point. But he's a good actor nonetheless. But I think he even found himself getting too popular, and you can see that he stepped out of the limelight a long time ago. Well,
it tends to happen with childhood actors, right? I mean, I don't know what happens with the childhood actors, and something happens and they lose it, or maybe they got popular too fast. I mean, maybe that's just what happened, and then it fizzled out before they were old enough.
Well, I mean, but you got 2 different ways. You got a guy like Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who was a child actor, and he made a great career. But you've got other child actors who they reach a peak and they can't deal with it.
It must do something to you. I mean, because it just seems like a bunch of your child actors just lose it somehow. I mean, you're like Home Alone. I mean, the kid from Home Alone.
Macaulay Culkin.
I mean, something happens. Bearded Barbarian. So that stuff right there would have been out of our budget, as a kid.
I do remember watching. I do remember my sister buying Teen Beat.
Even if it would have been in my budget, it would have still been out of my budget at the end of the day.
Yeah, I do remember my sister getting, when we were growing up, I remember her getting things like Teen Beat and stuff like that. Maybe that's where I saw that the big Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Of course, a lot of girls in junior high and stuff were all over that. But this is definitely another one that you could bring the premise of this show back, but I say don't. I think this was a perfect show, and I believe that you need to leave it where it was.
Yeah, I don't think this one will ever come back. And to be honest, I think this is one of those shows that I would rather watch the reruns of. Right? If I was gonna sit down and watch it, I would rather watch the reruns than I would somebody now try and build a hot rod in his garage. I mean, because you remember that he was building a hot rod in his garage. Yeah. While he was like destroying everything he touched in the house,
and for some reason he built an awesome
hot rod, right? Beautiful hot rod. Just couldn't like fix a sink.
Yeah, exactly. But that was our list. Again, you guys have brought up some great episodes, great TV shows back in the 90s back then, and like I said, I still think the 90s was the last great decade. And they did bring some great shows. And I'm actually the one actually that you guys brought up that I'm actually sad that we completely forgot about was Dinosaurs. It was one of the weirdest shows in the world, and with so much makeup and outfits that these actors had to do, it was still. I mean, because back then, remember TGIF? Everybody was on. It was all about TGIF. From another one, Family Matters.
Yes.
With Urkel.
No, there's so many still good movies out there that we didn't go over, but we just couldn't. I mean, there's just not enough time in the day. But remember, we did have a couple of honorable mentions, and I know that we might get scalped for a few of these, but I'm going to say them anyways. So I put Futurama on the list. Now I know Futurama didn't come out until '99, but I put Futurama on the list because I still watch Futurama to this day. And technically, it did start in the 90s. And then we have South Park. So South Park came out in 97. They were, to me, those were late 90s shows, but they were still 90s shows, right? I mean, they still came out in the 90s.
They started in the 90s. You got ones like, and we talked about with Simpsons. Technically, Simpsons became, I think, most popular in the 90s. But it actually started, Simpsons' very first appearance wasn't on their own show. They were actually got an appearance on the Carol Burnett show back in the 80s, late 80s, something like that. So, you got some great stuff out there that's still going. I absolutely love Futurama. Still one of my favorite animated shows to this day. I think I've seen every single episode, but great show.
Yeah, no, it's really awesome shows, and there's just not enough time in the day for us to go over all of them. I mean, I'm sitting here still thinking of shows in my head as we're sitting here.
Exactly, and like I said, we appreciate you guys in the chat, definitely keeping us up on our toes, and fact checking us with some as well. That's right. So we do appreciate it. And as well as like I said, we tell you every week, you guys drive this live every week, and we appreciate all the information that you guys do. Oh yeah, you know what was fun? I know visually impaired. Again, you guys are on top of it. What's funny is I said, have you guys ever had that time where you say something in your head but it comes out different? In my head, I swear to God, it was Tracy Ullman. It was Tracy Ullman's show. It wasn't.
I've been doing that lately. I call that Joe Biden moments.
Oh man,
it's okay to have those moments. I mean,
you say one thing, but it comes out something different. But yes, you are right. They come in Tracy Ullman show.
I call those Joe Biden moments. It happens sometimes. It happens sometimes. But hey,
that's forget, all we got for you.
Hey, before we get out of here, though, guys, tomorrow at 8 p.m. we're going to be going live with the Dead Skeleton.
Oh yeah.
Now I've actually known the Dead Skeleton since I was at like 200 subs. I think he was maybe at 5 or 6. We kind of started chatting then, and we've kind of just been going ever since. So don't forget, tomorrow at 8 p.m. you're going to have to come over to Chris's channel now. We're all going to be on Chris's channel. We're all going to be doing a giveaway. So we've got 3 giveaways that'll be going on this shit. So make sure you come check us out. It's going to be lots and lots of fun. Look, the Dead Skeleton is always a lot of fun. He's always very animated. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Yes, it'll be fun, and I'll probably have the thumbnail up for that tomorrow morning. So definitely come check us out. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Dead Skeletons. He's just a blast to be around. He's a blast to talk with, and it should be a lot of fun. Again, there's a 3-way Funko Pop. So definitely visit all of our channels from Tuesday, and our videos from Tuesday, and go to those links. There's, I think, 9 videos you can put hashtags on to get entered into these videos. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the 3 videos. There's only one item we're giving away per each one of us, but there's going to be, kind of like if anyone's seen JB from Discovery Bay Comics, we're going to basically do a picker, and somebody's going to win from each one of those videos. And then we're going to take those 3 people and give them a chance to win those products. So I think that's the fairest way to do it. We try to keep all of our giveaways as fair as we can. I know a lot of people say rigged wheel, rigged picker. It's the only way we got right now. There's really no way for us to rig it, though. I mean, it's online. We don't own it. It's another company that has a service that provides for free. I mean, so there's really no way for us to set that up. I mean, even if people think there's no way for us to set it up, or I would win every time. I mean, I would just be winning all the time. I mean, there's no way, and there's no reason for us to do that. So don't think that way. That's being negative. Don't be negative. Be positive. It's always way too easy to be negative. It's real hard to be a positive person, and so it takes a lot of work. And that's why being positive is always a better. Exactly. And if you guys can get a chance, I know a lot of people over here, it's much different time zones. But definitely, I know Funko Fridge just told us he has a live going on. I think it's at 7 a.m. or 5 a.m. He does it. It's in the evening, like this time for us. But of course, they're about a 12-hour difference. So if you guys get a chance, definitely check out Funko Fridge. I love the Australian accent. So
hey, Funko Fridge, before we get out of here, what time are you going live? Our time. So if it's 7.
If it's 7 o'clock at night, it's about somewhere from there. But I think that K&L just pointed out Dead Skeleton is going to be on Scream Stream tonight too. So if you get a chance, check him out too. There, he's a hilarious guy. And if you have not subbed to Dead Skeleton lately, hit him up. And I'm actually hoping, and my kids are actually hoping too, that we can get the Boogeyman on there, because my kids love the Boogeyman.
Your kids love the Boogeyman. So I actually had the Dead Skeleton. Me and him went live together one time, and he went live as the Boogeyman. It's a lot. He's always a lot of fun. Always a lot of fun.
Exactly.
And I don't even know that he'll be there as the Dead Skeleton tomorrow. I mean, he might just be there as the Boogeyman.
Who knows? You never know who's going to show up. Right. But guys, thank you as always for taking the time out. Whether you just came on to watch, whether you partake in the chat, we just appreciate you coming out, watching, and we just like to have fun here, guys. And hopefully we express that to you guys. So hopefully this is something you guys enjoy, and we hope to see you on many more chats. As this is something we just enjoy doing.
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing it now for 18.
Yeah, I lost count, to be honest with you.
18 of these is what we've done so far, guys. Don't forget, subscribe to the channels, turn on those notifications.
Smash that like button.
Make sure you're turning on those notifications. That is the most important part. I can't stress that enough. I've been stressing that a lot lately, and I don't necessarily know that people are hearing me, but if you don't turn on that notification, you'll never ever see us again, unless you hit the little subscription button in the middle. But nobody hits that. Everybody goes straight to their home, unless you're like me or Chris and you have a channel, and then it becomes second nature to hit that center button. But it just doesn't happen a whole lot. Guys, have a good one, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. Don't forget to come check us out.
Come check us out.